Hello everyone, today I'm here to talk about a book and review it for you. Today I'm talking about A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is the third book in the Ember and the Ashes series. As you can so clearly see behind me, we have Ember and the Ashes, and then Torch Against the Night, and then we also have A Reaper at the Gates. Briefly what I thought about this book without getting into spoilers, and then I'll tell you when I get into spoilers. So just know that this will be a spoiler-filled review, but I will let you know when I talk about spoilers that are directly in A Reaper at the Gates. So in case you're unfamiliar with the Ember and the Ashes trilogy and you're wanting to check it out, I have single book reviews for both of these books right behind me, which I will link in the cards up here and down below in case you want to hear more in detail about it. But basically it is a YA fantasy series that's kind of Roman inspired. We have these people that are the mask that kind of uphold this really brutality type of police, if you will, who we follow from pretty much in this series. We have Elias, Helene, and Laia. Elias and Helene are both masked, as you can see clearly she's wearing a mask, and they are kind of the bad people, if you will, that, you know, they're under the emperor and they have to do all these evil things. And then Laia is actually part of the resistance to try to bring them down. So basically that's what this book is all about, very, very vaguely. I love this series. It's one of my favorite YA fantasy series of all time. There has not been a book in this series that I haven't loved. There have been, I don't know if I've rated any of these 5 out of 5. Maybe. I think I gave Ember and the Ashes a 5 out of 5, and then Torch Against the Night like a 4.5 out of 5. This one gets a full 5 out of 5 for me. I loved it, and I think it's my favorite in this series. This is very epic, very brutal. It does have love in it, which is not one of my favorite things in it, but I highly recommend you check it out, especially because there's 3. You can just binge them all at once because you're gonna want to, because cliffhangers galore. But either way, I'd highly recommend checking this series out. So now, going into spoilers, I'm gonna be honest with you. So spoilers from here on out about Reaper at the Gates. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am a horrible note taker when it comes to books. I don't like stop and write down things that I want to talk about in reviews and stuff. And that's because if I'm being 100% honest with you, I don't have the time. I'm constantly reading whenever I can, so I don't have time to write down notes. That's why I don't. But I did write a few key points that I want to talk about, and I just want you to know also that this review is going to be literally all over the place. Like, I'm not going to start from the beginning and go to the end. It's just going to be chock full of just like a hexagon up in here. Like, it's going to go wherever we talk about in this video. So just so you know that. So I think this book starts off like a few months after A Torch Against the Night, and we pick up with Elias kind of being the soul catcher and him kind of losing his humanity all throughout this book, which I found so interesting. So at Torch Against the Night, Elias is slowly dying for like the majority of the book. At the end of the book he dies, and then he makes a bargain and becomes this new soul catcher in the waiting place in this forest. And this whole book for Elias is for him learning that he cannot be a human and be soul catcher. He has to give up his humanity, and he struggles with that a lot because, I mean, who wouldn't? I'd struggle with it. And he has to learn that he has to let go his love for Laia. He has to learn that he has to let go to help people out. He has to learn that he cannot be human anymore. He can't. He has to be full of magic and full of just helping, you know, souls and things like that. So this book was very interesting in the fact that Elias is not a big part of it. Well, he is. He's going on a journey very different from the other 2 characters we have. And he's going through a journey that's like, you know, him losing himself and losing who he is, quintessentially. So I don't want to say I enjoyed that because I love Elias and I hate to see him like become less human. And by the end of this book, he wasn't Elias anymore. He's just straight up the soul catcher. And it was hard to read, but it's interesting, you know. He's a different, like, how is he going to play out in the next book? Like, is he going to, you know, are we ever going to get Elias back? Is he just going to be the soul catcher from now on and be completely void of all emotions and humanity and things like that? It's very interesting to see. My gut tells me that Laia is probably going to pull him back because their love is so strong, which leads me to talk about Elias and Laia. I know this review is going to go all over the place. I think I'll talk about characters then about plot, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. You guys know I am not the biggest fan of Laia, and I'm not the biggest fan of Elias and Laia. I'm just not, and I'm definitely the unpopular opinion here because everyone loves Laia. everyone loves Elias and Laia together. I don't not like them, they're just not my favorite. I did, however, really come to enjoy Laia in this third book. In the first couple books, I felt like her storyline was just all about love and romance, and I'm like, we have a lot of other things going on, you don't need to be worried about this. And in this book, she's still very, you know, in love with Elias, and that kind of hinders some of her decisions, and a really strong side of Laia. Not that she hasn't been strong before, but she's really, you know, being a force. She wants to be part of the resistance. She wants to help free scholars. She wants to do all of these many amazing things, and she wants to stop the Nightbringer, and she's very strong on her own. So it was very interesting to see Elias and Laia apart for this book for so long, because they were so close together in A Torch Against the Night. But overall, with this book, brought my, I don't want to say newfound love for Laia. I enjoy her character. She's just not my favorite, but I loved reading about her storyline and how she's finally with her brother again, and how it's a great sibling relationship. I loved reading about her new relationship, or like new friendship, with Musa, hopefully I pronounced that right. And just her, Laia, you know, she became invisible. She's gonna be a big part of this whole finale. As far as the Elias and Laia thing, love, I mean, whenever I got to a page where they were, you know, talking about being in love, and I was like, oh, I don't know why I don't like them together so much. I can see why they work and they're great together. I'm just not behind that ship 100%. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm so unpopular opinion there. But either way, you know, Elias was busy in this book losing his humanity, and Laia was busy starting a revolution and being like the leader of that revolution. Like, she's gonna help any scholar she can. She's gonna make sure the Djinn stay trapped. She's gonna find that star. She's gonna do all these many things. And I thought she was a great character in this book. I love seeing her fierceness and her, you know, she was in charge. There were so many times in this book where people were like, you can't do that. And she's like, oh, you wanna hear how many things I did? This is what I did. What did you do? And I'm like, she's a pretty bad A girl. So I enjoy Laia, especially in this book. Now, let's talk about my girl, Helene. I don't know why people don't like Helene more. I feel like I'm one of the only ones who love Helene. Like, I have loved Helene since the beginning, and I will continue to love her. She is my favorite character in this series. I think I like her because she's so complex. With Laia and Elias, you know, you kind of get a sense from the very beginning of the series where, you know, they're both have very headstrong, and they're both, you know, wanting to do the right thing, and they want to break free, especially Elias, of what he knows and do the right thing. Elias, you know, constantly trying to find the right solution and to fight for her people and to do the right thing. And Helene has always been very complex. She has been the one that's been all about her people and being a mask and letting the mask be who you are. And she has always been kind of a question mark, honestly, but I enjoy that about Helene. Throughout this series, you get to see her more and more become a human and not so much of a mask, which I'm just obsessed with her journey. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, my favorite parts in this book were Helene's parts, because it was just so interesting seeing her and, you know, her sister's married to freaking the Emperor Marcus, which, oh, she was constantly trying to be there for her sister, but she couldn't be there because she had to be the Bloodstrike. And you knew that she's full of love, but she has to be hard and has to be cunning and all of these things. I loved reading her whole storyline in this book, which was phenomenal. I mean, and also, there was a new ship in this book with Helene and Harper, and I'm totally behind it, because my girl Helene needs love. That girl has been through enough. Like, I know all these characters have, but Helene has been through a lot. Like, her whole family got murdered in front of Marcus. He married her sister. Her sister's carrying Marcus's baby. Marcus is constantly hurting her sister. Like, is in love with her best friend, and he, like, totally left her. This woman's been through a ton. So I love reading about the complexity of her. I loved at the end when she had to rip off her mask, because she was like, I will do whatever it takes to help my people, and she just ripped it off, and like that thing's like glued to your face. Like, she's such a strong character, but she's so compassionate, and she's full of love, but she shows love in her own way. And I'm sorry, I could just gush about Helene. I mean, there's got to be other Helene lovers out there. Please tell me I'm not the only one. He said Livia. Is it Livia or Livy? Livia had Marcus's baby as the new emperor now, which I think is just crazy. And then finally Helene kills Marcus, which I think everyone was like probably inwardly like clapping their freaking hands off, because Marcus was the worst. He was so evil. And also the commandment, no, the Commandant. She is just, I can't ever get a read on her. I know she's evil, but part of me after this book thinks, a small part of me thinks that she was doing everything for the right reason. Like, I don't know why, especially with Cook leaving all those statues in her room, and then Elias having a flashback of his mom. I just feel like there's a lot of unanswered questions with the Commandant, and I think, I don't know, because Sabaa Tahir is she's very crafty when it comes to her writing. She writes things that I don't expect, and I think everyone from the beginning of the series, you know, hated the Commandant, and she's evil, and she's brutal, and she's horrible, and you're like, she is the true villain. But what if she's not? What if she was doing all of this for a particular reason, to help save Elias or something like that? And if that is true, Sabaa Tahir writes phenomenally then, because whenever I read a scene with the Commandant, and I like want to hurt that woman so bad because she's so evil, but there's a small chance of me that thinks that there's something bigger going on, a lot bigger than we think, of just her being straight up evil and wanting power for everything. I don't know. I feel like we're gonna learn. I think of the last book in particular because they keep telling Laia and they keep telling Helene to learn more about the Commandant, to learn more about her life, and I'm like, there is something that Sabaa Tahir is not telling us, and I think that she's gonna, I don't know, I'm not saying she's gonna be good, but I think there's something, like, when you figure out something about her, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm telling you, mark my words, I could be 100% wrong, but I feel like I'm not. Let me know if you feel that way as well. Also the Nightbringer. So I feel like the Commandant was really the true villain of the first book, and then we got introduced to Keenan. Oh, I hated that guy in the second book anyway, and the Nightbringer, and he's like the villain of the rest of the series now, and I don't know about him. Like, he was a king, he's trying to free his Jinn, so I'm just like, I don't know much about him. I want to learn more about him, of why he's doing what he's doing. Who was his wife, first of all, because he keeps referencing his love, his one true love, and who is it? I feel like it's gonna be somebody that's like alive. I don't know, that could be it, but either way I need to know more about him. He's a great villain because he will show up and you think he's helping, but he's doing it for an ulterior motive, and it's just interesting to read about. Also, let's talk about the freaking big elephant in the room, which is that Cook is Laia's mom. That has got to be one of the best plot twists I have ever read, and I've read a lot of plot twists. Sometimes I see them coming, and sometimes I'm like, that's a pretty good plot twist. Then there are very few times where I'm like, what the hell? And that is exactly what I felt when I read that plot twist. I did not see that coming. I never saw it coming. Not for 1 second did I ever think that was a possibility. So when we got all those flashbacks, when we got the final of Cook being Laia's mom, I was like, what? And how cold of a mother Cook is, and how she deliberately killed Laia's father and Laia's sister just so, I mean, did she really was killing them out of mercy, or just so they wouldn't talk and give information up? She's a very cold and brutal mother, and that was very interesting to read about because you don't expect that a lot with books like that. That was one of the best plot twists I've ever read, and then she sacrificed herself at the very end for Laia. It's like she's trying to atone for all of the many bad things she did while she was their mother, like, she's like, I'm sorry, killed your dad and brother, I'll sacrifice myself to help you. And I'm just like, wow. It was a very amazing plot twist. Like, for that, I'm like, Sabaa Tahir, this is amazing writing. Like, I did not see that coming. It was seriously one of the best plot twists I have ever read. So, and that brings us to the very end of the book when the Nightbringer releases the Jinn. So obviously, now everything's coming to fruition. Like, this big war is about to happen. We've had a war throughout this whole series of like different battles and things, but now the Jinn are free and they're going to wreak havoc among all of the living. And it's very interesting to see how it's going to play out, because now Helene and Laia are kind of a team together, and Helene's no longer a mask, and she, you know, and Marcus is dead, and, you know, now we just have to really fight the Commandant and the Nightbringer, which is going to be interesting, and all these Jinn. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good. Like, we're gonna get through this. Probably not. I expect at least a couple people I love to die next book, because I feel like Sabaa Tahir will show no mercy. I just hope some of girl Helene, Really hope not. So I mean, the next book I'm expecting a lot of just fighting with the Jinn, things like that. Obviously Elias is the soul catcher now 100%, so he's just gonna be not Elias anymore. I think at the tail end of the book he will come back somehow, some way. Either he's gonna come back and be human or he's gonna die. That's the two options I think for Elias. Elia I think is probably gonna be unscathed because she is just a strong character. Helene, I could see her self-sacrificing herself for somebody that she loves and for what she believes in. I could see that 100%. Also as Harper. Commandant could be the hero of the day, or she could be the 100% evil villain. I don't know. I'm telling you, there's something more about her. Either way, let me wrap this up. I love this book. I thought it was phenomenal. I gave it 5 out of 5. This is one of my favorite series by far. I just love the characters, I love the complexities, I just love everything about this series. So if you've read A Reaper at the Gates, please let me know your thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear them. Let me know your favorite characters, your least favorite characters, what your thought is going to be for the next series. Spoiler warning before your comment so we don't spoil anybody unintentionally, because that's no fun. And yeah, I need to know, where are my Helene people at? I can't be alone there. Please let me know. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.